Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys can see us and hear us okay. I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the conversation. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I get a chance to hang out with the one and only, the legendary Miss Vicki X Dillard from FlyNubianQueenTV.com. How you doing today, Vicki?
I'm doing very well, and I get to hang out with the great Dr. Boyce Watkins. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to have this discussion today. Like, I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And I'll just kind of jump right into it. Everybody who's watching, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button and all that stuff, and give us lots of chatter and lots of reactions so that this video will go far and wide. So Vicki, today I put something up on my Instagram, and I asked people, what do you think about about the idea of men dating when they don't have their finances in order? I've had people. I've had people say, and I was thinking of this because there was a guy that I remember talking to about this, and I remember him saying to me basically that we have to talk about dating and marriage and all that. And one of the things that he said is I just don't want to date, because my money ain't right. He said I don't feel like I can really do anything for anybody. I can't take care of myself, let alone take care of other people. And then it started getting kind of cynical, where he kind of felt like a lot of women want you to have money and everything else. And he said, I just don't date. I will not date. And that led to that question, should a man date if his finances are not in order? And a lot of people had a lot to say on Instagram. What's your initial reaction to a question like that?
Wow. And that's absolutely amazing. First, if you don't mind, I just want to shout out my Twitter people that are watching just for a quick moment. You all please come tune in to Dr. Boyce Watkins channel on YouTube. And that is, what is that again? Dr. BoyceTV.com, is that right? DrBoyceTV.com, DrBoyceTV.com. Join us there. We're having a powerful conversation about whether or not a man should be dating if his finances aren't in order. So meet us there. Thank you so much for allowing me to do that. My initial thought on that is I'm not quick to make judgments about things like that, because some things I think should be considered on an individual basis, but there are some principal things that I think should be considered. And I'll say this: I'm 40 now, Dr. Boyce, right? January 2nd, I turned 40. And the older you get, the less you put up with, with the half stepping and stuff. And, I was one of those women that was married for years. And was divorced for over a decade before even considering, a relationship, and on and on and on. And what I will say is this: I was always considered to be that ride or die chick, always believing in the potential of a man, and I'm gonna hang on in there with him, and I believe in him. I'm seeing this potential, and he can be, and I'm clairvoyant and stuff and prophetic. I can see into his future, and I'm over that right now. I'm over that right now, and I'll say this: I think it is important that, number one, we draw distinctions between dating and marriage. Now, are you? I'm a student in the Nation of Islam, so we don't even really use terms like that. We use phrases like courting. So if you are engaging a woman with the intention to ultimately marry, I do believe that your financial situation needs to be intact. And I believe that because we're taught that the man is what the Holy Quran calls the maintainer. I don't mean to be super spiritual, but of course, this is my perspective of things. And that means one that provides and that protects. And so when you're engaging a woman and you're courting a woman with the intention to marry, and you see her as marriage material, I do believe that it is very important. So just off the top, the quick answer in terms of if marriage is your goal, yes, you do need to have your finances in order. And not only your finances in order, to me, it's not just about being some multi-billionaire somewhere. I believe too that a man's purpose his purpose needs to be intact. He needs to be on purpose for me, a man on a mission. So that's my answer. That's the short answer right now. That's initially what I personally thought when I was posed with that question.
Okay, so that's interesting. Everybody, I want you guys to know I'm talking to Miss Vicki Dillard from FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Please hit the thumbs up button. Stop what you're doing right now. Please hit that thumbs up button. Very important to do that. We would appreciate that very much. And also on Twitter, the Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So if you're watching on Twitter, I want to say hey to everybody. Please retweet. Take a second to retweet this. We would really appreciate your support on this for intelligent Black media. So Vicki, you know, okay, so given that question, you know, should a man date if his finances are not in order? You know, I think it's interesting. It seemed to me that there's a lot of division in terms of how people see it. I think there's also gender division, right? There's a difference in terms of how men versus women see the issue. Because I think that there's times where women have, you know, where women may not care about a man's situation. You know, she may be like, well, look, you know, we can figure this out together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got a little bit of money, or I can make something happen too. I just want you to be there. You know, I just like that movie. What was that movie? Was it called Claudine or something like that? You know what I'm talking about, with James Earl Jones back in the day?
No,
I can't remember the name of it. It was James Earl Jones and that real pretty Black lady that was on Different World when she got Diane Carroll, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and in this movie, it was about a man who was a garbage man. They had a relationship, and he was a garbage man, and she was a single mom. She was on welfare, and the man, you know, felt like he couldn't add any value to the household. He couldn't add any value to the family. So he was tempted to just leave. You know, he was tempted to just, you know, not be in a relationship, because he just said, what can I give you? I can't do nothing for you. And the thing was that, you know, at the end, Claudine, that's what it's called. Yeah. At the end, you know, they all came back together as a family. And it was after the thing that brought them back together was that the woman, Diane Carroll's character, and the children basically told him, like, look, we just want you to be here. Like, we just love you. And you know, and don't worry about it. We'll figure all that out. But we need you to be here first and foremost. And that also makes me think about a good debate between James Baldwin and it's an old debate in the 1960s, but it was on TV. It was between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. And that was another debate that they had that debate. James Baldwin was, you know, his perspective was a lot of the men, the Black men, they don't want to stick around because they feel like they're worthless when they can't help provide economically, you know. And I relate to that perspective because I grew up watching my father, you know, making sure certain things happened and that, you know, got done in the household, stuff like that financially. But she came back and said, you know, first and foremost, we just need you there, right? You know, almost to the point where she was almost laying it out like it's an excuse for you to not be there, you know, because of the money. Like, no, you still need to be there, right? So what is your take on that when people are sort of figuring out what gender roles are? And so you have a responsibility, or some people believe that there's that responsibility of the male to be a provider, but he doesn't know how to provide or doesn't feel comfortable doing that. So he says, it's best if I just stay away. How do you draw that balance between those two?
I do think it's important that presence absolutely is important. And that's absolutely no excuse, particularly if you're talking about in situations where there are children involved. And let's, you know, just say baby mama situations that are involved. Certainly that cannot be excused because you don't have, you know, all of the money that you wish to have in order to provide. And so you withdraw your presence. But I will say this, Dr. Boyce, again, for me, I cannot disassociate this question with the Creator, what God's intention for us are. Now, again, I know folks have different spiritual persuasions. I'm aware of that, but I'll say this. After 464 years dealing with American oppression, of course, to include chattel slavery, to include being Black coded, dealing with the slave codes, dealing with the results of Reconstruction, dealing with Jim Crow, dealing with now new Jim Crow. We have to understand that we as a people have been denatured. And that means that we're acting and we're functioning in ways other than our original selves. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So a part of the original way things are meant to be, and our goal, what our aim should be, is to get back to what we were originally meant to be. And when a man is functioning in the role of a maintainer, as a provider and a protector, it, in my mind, sparks and it activates other things in the woman, in the family, in the community, in the realm of the planet, frankly. When he is operating in his role that he was given to by the Creator. And to be honest with you, some of this you don't even need to be spiritual to get. A man's biological makeup, the very reason why men are built differently than we are, their physical capacity, it is an indication to his job, to his nature to provide. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So to me, it's not only a spiritual or a metaphysical thing, it's also a spiritual and a metaphysical thing. It's also a physical thing. So it's something that's missing. Something is broken when a man is not operating in that function. And the imbalance of the woman, you know, men want respect as a head of the household and so forth. There is something that's lost when the woman is the main breadwinner. It just really is. Something is off in terms of the balance. And again, I'm not talking about somebody being a multi, you know, billionaire and billionaire, you know, you just, no. Again, for me, one of the most attractive things, and what I consider to be the real rich, is a man that is on purpose and a man that is about his mission. And in the beginning, it's even written where God expected the man to operate in dominion. He was expected to operate in power. So this is also another reason why sometimes you see these groupies and these different women that are attracted to celebrities and folks that seem like, you know, they're powerful, and even senators and governors and so forth, because inherent in the woman is her nature to be drawn to someone that's about their business, that's about purpose. And I'm going to say this too. We're also, especially if you're dealing with marriage, there's a phrase we say, a helpmate. That more or less deals with sexuality and really procreating. But when you're dealing with a helpmeet, that means, and if the woman is considered to be that helpmeet, that means that she's supposed to help you what? Meet a goal. I can't help a brother that's just sitting on the couch, doesn't know his purpose, trifling. I can't do nothing with nothing. You feel what I'm saying? I can help meet a goal with a man that's on a mission. Are you understanding? When a man that's on purpose, because when the man gives us something, we're multipliers. You understand? So once we're given something, we're able to enhance that. We're able to embellish that. We're able to grow a thing. And so again, at this point, the more spiritual I become, the more serious about my own purpose I become, the more I research our beginnings and how the ancestors respected and honored each other, the more I am persuaded. And again, under the teachings that I'm under in the nation, is the power and the importance of a man operating as a provider and a protector. And I'm going to say this now. All the stuff that's happening in the news and happening in the world around us, with the direct attack on Black women, with guns being brandished on them, with them being beaten, what a difference it would make if there was a respect and an understanding that the Black man is a provider and the protector of the woman, and that there would be real serious consequences if they were to put their hands on the woman. You understand what I'm saying? So that, to me, it really does matter. And I think that while we can make it work, it's still an imbalance, and that still should be, in my mind, a goal and an aim for a man to provide and to protect for his woman and his family. I think that is extraordinarily important.
All right. Well, everybody, I'm talking to Vicki Dillard from FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Today's question for intelligent Black people is, should a man date if his finances are not in order? Now, as we move forward, please do me a favor. Please make sure you hit the share button. Take a second. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button and you're on YouTube, we need you to do that. Please hit that thumbs up button so that more people will see the video. That's how the algorithm works. Also, please share. If you're on Twitter, please retweet. Please share, and like. Also subscribe at drboycetv.com. You can follow Vicki if you go to Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube and look up Vicki Dillard or Vicki X Dillard. Yeah. You will find her channels. She's all over the place. She's setting the world on fire Her work is really, really good. And also, in case you guys did not know, this podcast is now on iTunes as well as the Fly Nubian Queen podcast. So if you have iTunes on your phone and you want to listen on your way to work, or hopefully you ain't going to work yet, I want everybody to be free from the plantation.
Okay.
Unless if Master's good to you, then I'm not going to hate on you. You can stay on that plantation. But if you try to get off the plantation, we want to encourage you to do that. Feel free to go run over to the Black Business School. We have courses on how to quit your job, things like that. We're here for the community. We're here for you. We're here for intelligent Black people, and also Black people who just want to be intelligent. So, Vicki, let me ask you this. Well, let me go in. I'm gonna look at some of the comments now. I put this question up for the audience on our Instagram page.
Yes, lots of comments you got there.
Yeah, the Real Boyce Watkins. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a couple of comments, and then if you see something that strikes you and gets you to kind of react, feel free to jump in. Let's see. John Creese says, "What does dating have to do with leading a household? The question is about dating." Okay, so it almost sounds like it almost seems like there's a distinction, right, between leading a household versus dating. But I see it kind of like, if you're dating, isn't that kind of like a preparation for eventually sharing a household together? I mean, I don't think you can, like, disconnecting dating from marriage and running a household. That's like disconnecting sex from having a baby. Like now, mind you, most of the time when people have sex, there is no baby that comes from that sex, right? But sex is how you make a baby.
That's right.
So you gotta consider the baby part at least a little bit. Maybe when you think about who you have sex with, right? So maybe if you figure out what kind of man or what kind of woman you want in your household, maybe that should play some role in you deciding who you will even allow to court you. Like I tell my girls, like, if a man is not the kind of man that you really want in your life for a long period of time, don't even give him your phone number. Don't even give him your number. Don't even answer his calls. Don't even go to dinner with him one time, because that's how people get sucked in. There's all kinds of relations where people are like, "Oh, well, I didn't think he was going to be my baby daddy. I just went one drink with him, and next thing you know, no, life happens with a series of tiny steps. And if you kill tiny steps early, you avoid the big consequences later." So I almost think that they are connected. What do you think?
Absolutely. You could not have said it better. And that's precisely what I was saying earlier, how we're taught. And I told you I'm a student in the nation. I'm a student and I'm learning and I'm growing. And one of the things that we're taught, we don't even use the terms girlfriend and boyfriend. They use terms like courting, because it's a serious enough thing that you engage in. It's precisely what you were saying. It's a preparation for something else. And so if you're not going to take that that individual seriously enough to even, to consider being with, as you said, long term, in my mind, in terms of marriage, then don't even waste my time. So absolutely, it's a preparatory situation, and it is a total waste of time. And you know what, Dr. Boyce, with all of the stuff that's happening around us, the seriousness of the times that we're in, folks are dropping dead left and right. Look at the condition of our domestic situation here in America, what's happening around the world. How many of you just got time to play like that and just throw out your time, your day, your energy? You understand what I'm saying? And when you're dealing with relationships, to me, intimacy, one of the greatest areas of intimacy is not just sex, it's conversation. It's engaging and learning about who that person is. And so why waste so much time and energy if it's not going to be long term, if it's not going to be something permanent? So that is extraordinarily important.
Well, Vicki, let me ask you this. So we did a poll. I'll tell you the results of the poll. I actually polled everybody on our Twitter account, which is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. Okay. And I basically asked the question in a real plain way. I said, should a man date if he's struggling with finances? And the three answers people could provide were either yes, of course he should, no, get your money right, or I'm not sure. And the majority, which one do you think won? Which answer do you think got the highest percentage of responses?
As to whether or not a man should be dating?
Mm-hmm. Yes or no? Which one do you think that the audience picked? You guys let us know what you think. Like, give us your take on it as well. What do you think? What do you think the results of the poll were?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 53%. 53% said no. Yeah, 34% said yes.
Okay.
13% said I'm not sure. And I left that out as like an easy out for people who didn't want to be pushed for an answer. But I was tempted to just press people for an answer, like either yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. So what do you guys think? I see Yolanda says no. Teddy says yes, he should. Anatolia says yes. I would like to understand like how this might run along gender lines. Like, what do you think? You think that women are more likely to say no, or do you think men are more likely to say no? What do you think?
Wow, that's an excellent question. I'm going to say it's probably going to be pretty close. I'm thinking half and half. I'm going to think it's pretty close. And the reason I say that is if a sister was like I was, and still am in some ways, but where it's not just about, it's never been for me, just about the money. You understand what I'm saying? It's never been just about the money. But because I maintained that type of attitude, I was also taken advantage of. You understand? And I was also consistently the primary and the main breadwinner, on every turn. So the fact, and so I had to learn not to lower my expectation and my standard, because if I had to come to the table, you understand what I'm saying, with something, why wouldn't I expect a man to be able to do the same thing? And again, I'm considering a spiritual aspect of this, the way God created us to be, how he determined us to function, because I think we need some help. When I look at the condition, especially of Black people in particular around us, we need some assistance in how we are to operate. We need some standard operating procedures. You feel what I'm saying? We need a protocol. We need a standard, and nobody can run around here bragging, acting like we got it together. And I'm saying that by us being in this racist, white, beastly society that has caused so much murder, so much rape, so much theft, so much fraud, we have unfortunately been victims of it. But also we're seeing that some of our people are even taking on some of the characteristics and traits of our oppressors, which are some of the bad and negative traits. And as I said before, we have been denatured, and we need to come back to the way things are meant to be. And I believe that when a man is operating on purpose and in his purpose, Dr. Boyce, I believe that when he figures out what his gifts and his skill sets are, I believe that he's going to find wealth in that place. I believe that the universe is going to, as it's been said, conspire to bless him. I believe that when you're operating and you figure out what God has put in you, stuff around you will begin to manifest. And I think that it has to happen with the man. He's got to figure that part out. And then when the woman comes along, she will truly be able to have something to help you out with, to be a help meet concerning. So I think that's so important. I know I'm kind of a little off on your question, but I'm certainly curious about your thoughts on that.
No, I think that you, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, I'm a big believer that attitude is everything. Like I have found that, people who work harder and have good values and have a plan, they just tend to get luckier than everybody else, right? I mean, and so I agree with that 100%. I think the universe does conspire to get you to your goal if your mind is right and your plan is right and everything else, So that on that, I agree 100%. Now, I think that what I did notice, David Thomas actually in the comments, he hit the nail right on the head. He asked a key question that I would ask, which is, what do you mean by struggling with finances? Like, what do you mean by that? And so here's why that's an important question. Struggling with finances, it could either mean that you have a temporary struggle because of where you are in life. You're a young man, you're hustling, but you haven't got there yet, right? But you're making good decisions, versus somebody who's persistently struggling. I mean, anybody know anybody like that? Like somebody who's always broke, always has a financial disaster, always has an issue, always like in the struggle all the time. Sure. Those are different types of people, right? And that's why I think I've noticed that it is as important to look at where someone is going as it is to look at where they are. And where they're going. In fact, it's more important to look at where they're going, because where you're going is going to really determine where you end up. You know, like a car, if a car is going 60 miles an hour and is headed east, it doesn't matter where it is right now, because in an hour it's going to be somewhere different. It's going to be 60 miles down the road, right? But if a car is sitting still or going backwards or going in circles, you know, like that's a whole different situation, right? So, so ultimately, I think that the idea of struggling with finances, when I process that in my own life as a man, and what I felt like my role was as a man, I consider a couple of dimensions. One, I remember, you know, back in the day when I was struggling with finances, meaning I look in my pockets and wasn't nothing there. You know, I want to go out, you know, I can't even go out and buy a cheeseburger, you know, and I remember dating as a person that did not have a lot of money and who was struggling with finances. And I remember dating being something that was just hard to do. You know, you always, you know, as a young man, I was always attracted to women. That never stopped. You know, me being attracted to the opposite sex and wanting to engage with a woman or whatever it was. But my desire to go into a deepened relationship was deeply affected by my financial situation. And it really came down to the expectations that I felt that they were either put on me by society or my family or my upbringing or whatever. But my expectation had always been that as the head of the household, you have a responsibility to make sure everybody is eating inside their house. You know, if you may not have to do the job by yourself, but if the kids are hungry or the lights are cut out, that's going to be daddy's fault. You know, like you know, like if the food's in the refrigerator and it ain't been cooked, then that's mama's fault. People gonna look at mama like you know what I mean? But if there's no food to be cooked, people look at daddy, right? So I think that for myself, the pressure for me as a black man came from the fact that I remember thinking, gosh, I don't even know if I can take care of me and get what I need. When I was 28, I had nowhere to live. I was technically homeless. I had somewhere to go, but I didn't have a place to live. It was not, I could not afford a place on my own. And I remember just thinking, I can't imagine going through all of this with a wife and a child. You know, that would devastate me. That would make me feel very bad. It would stress me out, you know, drive me crazy. It would probably even be difficult to have a healthy relationship with that kind of pressure, you know. But once I was no longer struggling with finances, meaning that I had some income coming in, that's when you begin to think, okay, well, I can take care of me pretty good. Now let me just spread the blessing to other people. You know, let me consider another situation because now I feel comfortable doing it. So I wonder if that's the case for a lot of men in terms of how men might process that equation. What are your thoughts on that?
I think what you just said, I think is brilliant and precise and absolutely accurate. And I don't think that a woman that is divinely aligned and a woman that knows who she is, I don't think that ultimately that woman is looking, you know, to take a man for all of his money, you know what I'm saying, and expecting, unrealistic expectations or anything like that economically. But it's something about a man that is happy to take on the role of provider and protector, that just does something for the woman. And it's something about that man that's willing to go out, to live on purpose, to provide for his, to be happy about it. The attitude about it is also very important. And to believe that I have the capacity to do this. I'm pleased to do this. I so value who you are. More than I value my car, because some brothers out here love their car. They take really good care of their car. They understand the concept of all that. But they don't see their woman or their family necessarily in the same way as it's a pleasure to do this. It's an honor to do this. And I think that some men also lash out, and I'm kind of taking the conversation a little differently. I've noticed sometimes that some men lash out and they get upset, even in my comment section, Dr. Boyce. On live on some of my shows, when they get so angry, as if I'm putting out an invitation to date or court some of them, when they get mad, when they want to tell you how to do your hair, you know what I'm saying, and about your outfit and what you put on, and get so upset and tell you what their expectations of a woman are, you know, and why you have your hair like this. Is it because you can't afford it? Is it because, you know, you're angry and upset because, you know, because if this is if you're looking for a type of woman that does not have braided extensions, Why are you talking to me? There are those that are out there that don't have those. Please direct your conversations and your criticisms to those particular individuals. Are you telling me this because you expect me to conform to this? You feel what I'm saying? And so some of the backlash that I think that's out there, and I'm not saying this is with all men, but I'm saying some of the backlash that I find where even videos have been made on me out there, which is so funny to me, is related to hair. It's related to, exterior things. And my thing of it is it because you feel like you cannot measure up? Is it because you feel like you don't have the necessary resources, to maintain that? If that's the case, then you need to keep working on you. You need to keep trying to build up your dollars. You need to go to Dr. Boyce in some of your classes and work on some stocks while you're working for them, working for corporate America, whatever your goal and your destiny is. So instead of reacting, in such a mean way, and I get it a lot, Dr. Boyce. I don't care what the subject is. I don't care what my topic is. There are comments about it, and it usually comes from men. And I'm a girl from Mississippi. And so to see this over the last little bit of my life, I find it so fascinating that men have this obsession now where they want to tell a woman what to do with her hair and their expectations and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm thinking that if you're not my man, you understand what I'm saying? Why are you directing this information? I'm confused. I just don't understand. Dr. Boyce, could you please give me some insight? I'm serious. It's a serious question for me. I need you to give me some insight as to why you think that might be.
Well, let me say this. I'm very protective of strong Black women that really represent the Black community in a meaningful, authentic way. And the reason I'm protective is because I know as a Black man who's constantly attacked by either white folks or coon-faced Negroes, whatever, who want to fit in. I know that it makes me feel good to know that there are Black women like yourself, who really represent what I believe the community should be all about. It should be about family. It should be about our, us shaping our narrative, us shaping our values, etc. And there are some people, some women and men that really get that, and those are people that I just love and respect so much. And so the way I try to return the favor is, I feel that men like myself and men who are listening should hear this. We should also be protective of women, like Vicki Dillard, from the men out here who really, are expressing what I would define to be almost predatory energy. When you talking about a woman that's sitting on, that's doing a show on YouTube where she's trying to educate other people, she's trying to uplift other people, she's trying to bless other people, she's trying to make other people aware, she's trying to do good for the world, and all you can do is attack her because of something that ain't none of your damn business anyway. Her hair. Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? And that makes me want to punch you in the face. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, no, like what are you doing? You hurting this woman's feelings over something that is not even an issue and it's not even your business. Shut up. Go away. So I'll tell you straight out, like no man will ever do that on my platform to any woman that comes through here. That's just not going to be accepted. And the moderators on our channel know if somebody comes talking that crazy stuff, they're going to be out. And so I honestly think that, when we talk about, the interaction between men and women, and we are out combating things that we have issues with, like extremist toxic feminism.
Right.
I think that we also have to do that with a balance where we directly confront unacceptable behavior, off-code behavior in our own community. When we see men that are just being ridiculous, bringing out their mommy issues,
right.
They're saying some things about Black women that just that should never come out of anybody's mouth. I think we have to address that because we do have a lot of men that I guess identify with the conscious community space. And I think that they tarnish the image of the entire conscious community with their ridiculous, immature behavior. I'm sorry, I can't understand how you could call yourself a conscious Black man and you just blanketly are disrespecting Black women for ridiculous, stupid things. So that's it. So again, that we know that an issue like someone's hair is a superficial topic. So, if you are expressing all that energy to address such a superficial topic, that pretty much says you're a superficial person. And I just think it's something that we just, as a community, have to address that and deal with it. So I want to say, on behalf of all stupid men out here, like, I'm really sorry that unfortunately YouTube gives every idiot a platform and people are gonna mess with you. That's what happens. So you're gonna, I get my share of the haters and whatever, and I just learned how to I'm really thankful for that, because that taught me how to bless myself up to another level. Now, like, mentally, I the things that bothered me a year ago don't bother me at all now. So it's actually been a wonderful growth experience. And so I would just say to you, keep doing what you're doing. And I can't explain everything that a male predator does. I can't explain that, because I do see that. Again, I see that as predatory energy. When you're picking on some woman and ain't said nothing to you, all she's done is try to help you, and you're coming at her in an aggressive, nasty way. In my mind, that is predatory energy. And I do believe that men, and if you wanted to put a label, if you ever wanted to define toxic masculinity, that's what I would see as toxic.
That's what sure.
Bed wench, weave wearing, blah blah blah. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like that's toxic masculinity to me. That's what we do. We some of the men, when they get out of control, they just want to go and beat the women down and beat them down emotionally and for whatever, because she said something you don't agree with. And I just think, as a community, we have to decide right now that that's not going to be acceptable.
Yes. Well, that is so amazing that you said that, and I certainly appreciate it. And I'm going to say this too, because Dr. Boyce, you, as a wonderful mentor that you are, you prepared me for that. You told me, hey, this comes with it. You know what I mean? And you gave me some good insight about it. And you also wanted me to stay focused on who I'm there for, right? You wanted me to stay focused on what my purpose is, what my agenda is, and stay focused on that. And that way you always win. And I think that that's one of the secrets that I'm learning from you. And as I'm taking this journey, and as we're growing at a healthy rate by being on your wonderful platform with Fly Nubian Queen, is that, number one, first of all, every time I'm there, I consider it an honor. You understand? Because as an influencer, it's an honor, number one. And then I see it as something that's bigger and greater than myself. You understand? A purpose that's more than just about branding. All of those natural things, of course, that's a part of it. It has to be. It has to be a part of it. But the main goal, the main impetus, is about informing and inspiring our people to move our society forward. And so that is what I think is so awesome and the greatest thing. And I think that's one of the secrets that I'm learning to why you and your agenda and your business for Black folk are going to endure, because it's more than just about someone going on, using their platform, to disrespect someone or to get a whole bunch of subs and get a whole bunch of views at the expense of other people. You understand, it's a purpose, it's a mission behind what you do. And it's so exciting to be a part of that. So I know it's kind of a side note from the conversation, but I just wanted to say that. Yes. So
well, the feeling's entirely mutual, and I want everybody to know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Miss Vicki Dillard from FlyNubianQueenTV.com. You can follow her if you look up Vicki Dillard on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. You can find Vicki. You can follow her. She's definitely one of the good ones. So, and I want to make sure y'all know that. Also, if you haven't done this yet, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. And also know that we're on iTunes now, so you can listen to the podcast on iTunes. And last but not least, if you want to get a text notification when we go live, text the word Boyce to 31996. It's important to get the text notifications because YouTube throttles. YouTube does not send out notifications when we go live the way they should. We have hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, and sometimes we can't reach everybody. So if you want to make sure we can reach you, text Boyce, just type in Boyce and text it to 31996, and I'll let you know when we go live. So Vicki, let's dive a little deeper back into it. I'll ask you a last couple questions about the topic at hand in terms of whether or not a man should date if his finances are not in order. I think one thing that we've established, at least this is one perspective I'll lay out for people, because I've actually thought a lot about love and money. I wrote a whole book about it. It was called Financial Lovemaking. And I don't know if I don't mention it much, but it was actually the first financial book I ever wrote, because I was fascinated by how money shapes people's decisions. If somebody is struggling with money and you can almost, if you want them to live in another part of the country or do something totally different with their day every day, and a person that has money can change that. That's why Black people have to be careful, because racism, the money that is in the hands of white supremacists, they're able to control us like puppets. On TV, jumping up and down like monkeys, and every day they control what we do with our lives every day. Now think about this. Most Black folks that, if you raise your kids to go work for a white man when they grow up, they're going to give about 100,000 hours of their life serving a purpose that has nothing to do with who they are.
Think about that. That is a big deal.
Yes. You literally are dedicating your life to something that you don't even care about, something that means almost nothing to you, because nobody taught you how to go make your money in a way that is relevant to who you are, right? You never learned, business plans, business models, how to, LLC. You never learned all that. You only learned about how to get a job. Well, when you get a job, when somebody gives you a job, at that point, you shifted control of your life to that person for that particular period of time, right? That means that if I tell you to do a job, you're no longer going to do what you want to do. You're going to do what I want you to do, right? You're no longer fulfilling your purpose. You're fulfilling the corporation's purpose. Right? So if you think about life as a journey where we get the most fulfillment when we follow our purpose, follow our passion. I mean, anybody tell me what I'm talking about. Go look at somebody who's really pursuing their passion, who's doing something they really love. You might be looking at two of them right now, because I love what I do every day. I did this for free. Like, come on. If you see somebody that's really living their purpose and their passion, they are about the happiest person in the room.
It's true.
And, they're just into it. But look at somebody who's filling somebody else's purpose and passion, right? You're going to work every day fulfilling your oppressor's purpose and passion, right? Ooh. I mean, that is about as much of a formula for depression as there ever was, right? So ultimately, I was really fascinated with how money is used to control the lives of Black people, but also how money is used to control the lives of all people. And one of the areas where money is used to control the lives of certain people is through dating and relationships. Like, for example, when we raise little girls to go chase after the ballers, right? Men who got the money, or to think he's a good man because he's a doctor, or he's a lawyer, or he's a businessman, or whatever, he can put you in a nice house. Do you understand that what you're doing is you're taking a complex, multi-dimensional decision, the decision of what to do with the rest of your life. You're reducing it to like one or two almost seemingly superficial and irrelevant factors for the most part. Not to the point where money shouldn't matter, right? I think that there's a natural attraction people have toward other people who have resources. And there's an attraction that women have toward men with resources, right? Even before money was ever invented, the man who had the most land with the most cows probably had the most girlfriends, right? Like there's something about that. Because animals exhibit this behavior as well, right? And so it's some of it's natural, but I think that when you talk about, young ladies being raised in a way where they are deprived of basic financial literacy training, deprived of resources, deprived of any skill or ability to obtain resources that they might need for themselves, that's how the R. Kellys get over. Or whoever. When you talk about like the men in the hood doing whatever with somebody's daughter or whatever, a lot of that happens because that little girl can't get what she needs on her own and hasn't been empowered psychologically or economically to obtain that.
True.
The baller becomes the answer to her prayers, but that comes with a lot of extra baggage. Maybe a STD, right?
Come on, please.
Right? Maybe some mistreatment that she endures in order to get the reward that's on the other side of that big wall.
Well said.
So when I thought about, the young ladies I mentored, my thought was, you know, it's okay for you to be attracted to the things that women are attracted to. I don't think I have the right to judge that. But maybe one way I can help you is to show you, you know, early ways that you can get these things on your own or on your own terms, so that you're not, you know, you're not laying down in the bed.
Wow, it's powerful.
Alone, who can just, you know, bring you a bucket of Popeye's chicken, or take you on a nice trip, or impress you with a fancy car, or whatever. So that's my 2 cents. So I do think that, and I know that kind of spun away a little bit from the core topic, which is, should a man date if his finances are not in order? But I also think that there's that other question of, remember, when you talk about should a man date, there's the question of should he be dating, but then there's also the question that the ladies must be asked is, should you be dating him? Right?
Well said.
Because you know what I mean? You know,
Yes,
like they can ask, like, should you be selling this product? That's one question, but that's on one side of the equation. The other question is, should you be buying it? Right? And so a lot of men who ain't ready to date, a lot of men who are not prepared for a relationship, not looking for a relationship, not qualified for a healthy relationship, are gonna make themselves available to you. And I think you must ask that question, like, should that person even be somebody that's up for consideration? So if a man's finances are not in order, you know, should you, how should you approach that? Or let's say a man's finances really, I know I'm going in a lot of directions on this, but I hope y'all can follow me on this. Sure. But then there's the other question on the flip side of that, which says, if his finances are in order, if he got his money right and his money's tight and he got money to the ceiling, should that automatically be a good man for you? You know, right? Does that make him a great catch because he's got money to the ceiling? Because I know a lot of terrible men. I'm talking about terrible men who got all kinds of money, who are very good when it comes to making money. Does that really make him a good man? Because he's got some money. So I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that. I know it's probably sparked some thoughts, and I didn't even ask a question because I want you to.
No, absolutely. What you're saying is so important, but it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about, for me, one of the most attractive things for me that I see in a man is a man on a mission, a man that is about his purpose, a man that's operating in something that's more than just about himself. So for me, that is extraordinarily in purpose, a man that's operating in whatever particular space in the world that the Almighty has created him to do, a man that's figured out his niche in the world. That to me is a part of the real rich, Dr. Boyce. What I label as the real rich is having a basic, having it together, basically, you know, on a reasonable level, economically, obviously, having an understanding of being the provider and the protector of the woman and the family, and being on purpose. To me, that's the real rich in my mind, because I'm someone that I think it's important to me that we're operating as close to the way that we were meant to be. And of course, I'm a spiritual person, so I take my cues for what I believe are, you know, the elders and the ancestors and the scriptures that have been left for us by them to get insight on what that looks like. Having a connection with our Creator, to me, that's extraordinarily important. And I think that when you see someone that's operating in their particular skill set, number one, and it sounds so simple what I'm saying, but you don't understand what you activate around you when you're operating in your purpose. You see what I'm saying? When you're operating in your purpose, there is a level of freedom. There's a level of faith. I believe that resources show up for you. I believe people, places, and things adjust to accommodate your assignment. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. And I believe that a man that does that will attract the help meet, not just the help mate, because that's more or less dealing with sexuality, sex and procreation, but that help meet, that woman to help you manifest your purpose as well. I think that is just it's impossible to quantify what would happen in the life of a man that's living on purpose. And for me, you can talk about the money all day long. You can talk about this, that, and the third all day long. But if it is divorced from a man living on purpose and living his mission, that's not the real rich for me. And that's what I'm about, that life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, when I looked at that question, you know, should a man date? Should a man be dating if his finances are not in order? I think that my general conclusion is that I think anybody has the right to date if that's if you're prepared to be a good partner for somebody else, if the expectations are set in the right way, right? I mean, there's dating where you just, I guess in society, right? There are people that date just to date, and then there's people that date with an objective. I don't think I'm not one that feels like I have the right to judge what your objectives are when it comes to dating, but I do think that there is an importance in terms of understanding. I think knowing yourself well enough to know what you're looking for is extremely important. Because a lot of times when people really want something from you, they're not always going to tell you exactly what they are or who they are. They're going to find out. Sometimes they may actually listen to find out what you're looking for, and then become the person that you want them to be, so they can get whatever they want from you, right? Because a lot of times, at least in modern dating, there's this weird trade sometimes where it's you have the trade of maybe some physical interaction, maybe sex, or whatever is the people do, and they're in exchange for longer term things like commitment and marriage and stuff like that. And so I've seen a lot of situations where maybe a person might tell you what you want to hear, like a politician. Politicians, right? Like, oh, you want $1 billion in your mailbox? Oh, when I get elected, I promise you, I'll get it to you. You want reparations? Okay, we're gonna do that. You want more police on your block? We're gonna do that, right? Because they're trying to get something short term. They're trying to vote. But then when it comes to the long term payoffs, you find that they have written a check that they're not prepared to cash.
Come on.
Right. And so in a lot of relationships, you kind of see that sort of happen. So I think that if I was talking to a man about dating, should you date when your finances are not in order? I think there's a conversation about the expectations of dating, the financial challenges, the short-term challenge of just, you're giving up your time and your money, to go out with this woman. And so I when I see guys that want to just chase women all day, I kind of help them reflect on the fact that, when you're chasing women all day, you're not able to chase your dreams. You're not able to go out here and really chase money. Like they say, you'll never lose. You can lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money. And so when I was younger,
say that again.
When I was younger, I was like, I'm not going to spend all my time chasing women.
Wow.
If I chase a woman, it had to be a quality woman. I wasn't going to chase you just because you was cute.
That's right.
If you were going to disrupt what I was trying to do, then I didn't have no interest. Also,
Dr. Boyce said you was going to disrupt. That's right, Dr. Boyce.
Yeah. Somebody's going to disrupt. You eating up all my time and all my money.
Come on.
I'm not going to do that. So whether or not I could afford to date you when I was younger, it didn't really come down to the price. It really came down to the value. Like there were women where, seriously, there were women. I remember meeting a woman once where she was so amazing that I would have spent $1 million to go on a date with her because it was worth my time. It was something that I really saw as a valuable experience. Whereas there were some women I met where I wouldn't spending $5 to go out with you was too much. $5 in 5 minutes. I want my money back and I want my 5 minutes back. I'm telling you, Vicki. In fact, let me tell you a story. I remember one time I went out. This is where I was learning as a young man how to balance between my passions and passions and attractions versus like the balance you needed to achieve long-term goals. And so there was this girl. She went to school with my sister, college with my sister back in the day. Fine as wine, prettiest black woman ever. I ain't never been attracted to Becky. That ain't never done nothing for me. I've always loved a black woman. And this black woman, I asked her out one time, and I remember we went out and I was so excited to go get a chance to go out with this girl. And I remember all I remember was her complaining the entire time, negative, nasty attitude, and then ordering like the most expensive everything on the menu. And so we finally got to go eat, and she was complaining the whole time because the time of the movie was at a time where by the time we went to go eat, it was kind of late and nothing was open. And I'm just, by this time, I'm just sick of hearing her complain. You ever have that experience where somebody starts off and they a 10 in your mind, and then by the time the date's over, they're like a 1?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So I was like, can I just drop her off on the side of the road? Maybe I drop off at a one of those homeless shelters or where they take the lost kids. Like, I was like, I got to get this woman out of my my car. My parents raised me right to be a gentleman. So
Yes.
I promised her I would take her out to eat, and I did. Because I remember her specifically saying stuff like, I'm hungry. Where we gonna eat? Like it was like that. And so we get to this restaurant. She orders all this expensive food, and the food gets there, and she takes like 2 bites. And then she
didn't even eat it. Whoa.
And I'm like, well, you kept telling me all night how hungry you were, and you ordered all this food. And again, I was in school, so my money was tight. And I spent like $120 by the time this date was over, which was like $1 million to me. And I will never forget this. So I was like, well, you told me how hungry you were. Why don't you eat anything? And she said, oh, I'm gonna pack it up and take it home. So she had ordered enough food so she could eat for the next 3 or 4 days. Yes. She had no intention of eating that food that night. She was going to take it home. So
wow.
So basically I said, wait a minute, I think I'm being used, and I think like experiences like that makes you, it makes you aware of what you want to look for and not wasting your time. I see a lot of men wasting their time.
Come on.
Chasing low quality women. And the same thing is true. I mean, and on the woman's side, I mean, some of y'all ladies out here watching right now probably got stories of guys where you just wondering how that man even got in the same room with me.
Okay.
So to me, I think, again, going back to that core question, should a man date if his finances are not in order? I think that is a deeper question than it appears to be. It doesn't mean just because your finances are good that you are a good person to date or that you should be dating.
True.
And it doesn't mean that just because they're bad that you shouldn't date at all. I think it means you need to look for value in your life.
Yes.
Look for people that are worth your time.
Yes.
Right? Like look for people. Don't just be happy to go out with a girl or a guy because you're glad that you're honored that they're going to take you out or that they want to go out with you. No, they should be honored that you're giving them your time, that you give them your resources. And when I figured that part out, then you know what? My dating pool or my potential dating pool in my mind shrank from here to here.
Awesome.
I was looking for the quality women. So I think in general, I think that should be the goal. Like look for quality. And then when you find quality, I think everything kind of comes together. It don't matter if you could be broke as a damn joke.
Yes.
And if you find equality in your life, then that woman or that man will just elevate you in the areas of your life that matters to you. And it'll be a beautiful thing. So,
I think that this is so powerful. Excuse me, what you just said. And let me say this to you. Long before I came to Fly Nubian Queen, I would see you, of course, talking about economic issues. Of course, you always talk about that. And I love, too, how you merge into commentary, related to social commentary and other things related to us, because you are not just a one-dimensional man. So it trips me out when people say, well, why is this finance person talking? And I'm thinking, dummy, because he's more than just one-dimensional. You understand what I'm saying? And has something to say related to that. And so one of the things that I was going to say this to you, I'm mentioning that to say, you often talk about athletes. And Dr. Boyce, you helped to break the story on Quintez Cephas. And then I started to cover him as well. And of course, I'm sure you've heard about Zion Williamson lately. How important is this stuff to folk like them, would you say right now?
It's very important because, Quintez Cephas, he's the guy at the University of Wisconsin who's facing a very questionable rape charge where 2 white girls invited him in for a threesome. And then they said they were raped, which, I mean, a lot of the evidence just does not support what they're claiming. It doesn't matter. They already took away his football career. They're trying to put him out of school. They're trying to put him in prison. And he's fighting back. He's fighting like a man, and et cetera. But it shouldn't even have gotten to this point. We know this. And I think that where the athletes are messing up is when it comes to the Achilles heel of a man. Ain't nothing like a big button to smile, like that Belleville.
Okay.
To throw a man off his game. Like you don't let questionable or low quality people get around your high quality asset. Like,
ooh, wait a minute, that's a t-shirt or something. Please repeat that again, Dr. Boyce. Please repeat that again.
Yes, do not let low quality or questionable people get around your high quality asset. You are an athlete that's about to go out and make $50 million, $100 million. Why are you letting strangers have access to your $100 million asset? Why are you letting lowlifes have access to your $100 million asset just because she looks good or just because you're seeking some sexual gratification. You know, it's like if I have an expensive piece of art that's worth, you know, $50 million, I got the Mona Lisa, you know, in my living room. I'm not gonna let anybody come up and get close to that painting.
Come on.
I'm probably gonna have it behind a glass case, and you probably gonna have to pass through security. In fact, if you go to the Louvre Museum right now, where they have the Mona Lisa, and I went there one time, you can't get close to that painting. You can't get close at all, let alone. But even as close as they'll let you, you must go through security. They do not let low quality or questionable people get near their precious, valuable asset. And with athletes, you see that the training and the thinking just goes in the opposite direction. You got this guy that's got $100 million on the line, and he gonna lose everything because of some woman he met 2 hours ago. 2
hours ago. Come on now.
It's crazy to me. It doesn't even make any sense. So I think that men have to, be taught a little bit more discernment and an understanding of the environment in which they operate. And I think it's also true on the woman's side.
Come on.
You know, I think love and lust and all that, those are just very powerful things. And it can cause us just to make some treacherously bad decisions. And in fact, I know I can think of a couple of women I've known who've been actually killed, who had very, you know, strong careers, great women, beautiful children, and they were killed, you know, because they allowed a man into their life where there were warning signs all along that man had no business being near their most precious assets.
Come on.
So that man he shouldn't have been around you. So the question becomes, you know, what was the factor that distracted you or misled you, or is there a self-esteem issue that caused you to even allow this person to get close enough to you to ultimately destroy you? And I think that's a question many of us have had to ask. I've made in my life many times, but I know that the more mature I got, the less I made that mistake. Like even now, I can tell you as I'm not even all that famous. I'm famous amongst the people that know me, but I'm not worldwide famous. I'm not Will Smith famous, but I'm famous enough that you ain't getting close to me.
Come on.
You've been vetted. I'm not going. No, you're not going to be my best friend. You know, after I've known you for an hour, I can't allow that to happen because I got too much shit on the line.
Come on now.
Period.
Come on.
My French. I didn't mean to cuss. I promise.
But it's.
Well, I'll let you get the last word, Vicki.
Oh, no, well said. Absolutely. You know, I was thinking about, and particularly for women, what you just said is so powerful and it's so important. And we keep seeing this happen with our people. So that's one of the reasons I'm so glad you addressed it. But to our women, and I'm speaking for myself and my own experiences, like I said, the older I get, the less you put up with. And the more you really come to know your value, the more you, and it's a spiritual thing. It's also a spiritual thing too, Doc, because when you spend time knowing who you are, realizing what you were created to be and what you bring to the table, just like you said, which was such a wonderful analogy about the fact that you're not even getting ready to get close to this painting. It's not about arrogance. It's not about trying to be bougie. Again, it's about value, you understanding your value. And the reason why I take my value now so seriously, because you know what I have to offer, it ain't about just Vicki. It's about my ability. If I mess this up, then that means what? I'm not allowed to be a beacon or a light, to the world. I'm not able to fulfill my purpose, which has to do with more than just me. It's more than just Vicki that's on the line. So that's why we vociferously guard and take seriously who we are. And as you just mentioned, even those in our circle, and I'm going to say this too, my sister in the nation, Neelam, she and I know her from really mainly at a distance, but she's a hip hop artist. She's just so amazing, and she's all on social media. Dr. Boyce, I mean, oh my gosh, I hope I get a chance to interview her one day. But she is a media goddess. Do you hear me? Will Smith and Erykah Badu, all of them follow her or liked her thing, her social media, her Instagram pages and stuff. Anyway, Neelam said in one of her songs, Dr. Boyce, how Bentleys don't have commercials. Now I was screaming. I kept replaying that lyric over and over. Bentleys don't have commercials.
Yes.
And that inspired a show that I did about why Louis Vuitton and stuff, why they don't go on sale. And I heard also another sister, I don't remember her name right off, but anyway, she was mentioning that. So anyway, they were both the inspiration for a show that I did that talks about our value, who we are. And to be honest with you, with some of these places, not that none of them ever aren't advertised It's just that it's targeted advertisement to those that they know can afford it. You understand what I'm saying? And in areas where they particularly target certain folk, but when you know your value, you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be on television promoted like McDonald's or Taco Bell or something. There's something about the individual that's high quality, that knows what they have, that will seek out a thing. You understand what I'm saying? Even if it's not already in their face, they'll begin to seek this thing out. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Well, I love it. I love it. So y'all get that point? Bentleys don't have commercials. So you ain't got to go out here advertising everything that you got, you know, in order to draw the right people.
That's right.
You know, sometimes it's a matter of knowing your value and knowing that eventually the right customer, if you want to call it that, will come along.
Absolutely.
So this has been a really fun conversation, Vicki. I really appreciate your time, and everybody, please follow Vicki. If you look her up on YouTube, Instagram, all the social media platforms, just look up Vicki Dillard, Vicki X Dillard, and you can find her and follow her. She's very good. She's on FlyNubianQueenTV.com. She has a show that comes on every single night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. So go to FlyNubianQueenTV.com, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And Vicki always brings you something that is interesting and amazing that you didn't know about, and she delivers it in a way that only Vicki can deliver. And everybody who's watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button before you go. Please hit that thumbs up button. We need you to hit the thumbs up button to support what we're doing. Also, if you want to be part of our League of Intelligent Black People, to be a patron and to support our growing of intelligent Black media, and to also get lots of free stuff that we give you in return, feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. And last but not least, we are on iTunes, so you can look us up there. And if you want to get a text notification when we go live, text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. So take care, everybody. Have a good day. And thank you, Vicki, once again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Doc. It's an honor.
Oh, the honor's all mine. See you soon.
All righty. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.